Well, it's that time of year again. People are playing the same Christmas music they've played for the decades on end, and no matter how sick of it you are, you're gonna hear it. There's people roasting chestnuts, baking gingerbread men, and then there's those people who drink way too much eggnog at the holiday Christmas party and get caught playing with each other's candy canes. Oh yeah. Leading to some very interesting New Year's resolutions. There's trees covered in lights. Oh, and of course, Christians yelling about their rights.
In fact, do you realize that Starbucks isn't allowed to say Merry Christmas to customers?
But would any Christmas be complete without the now annual War on Christmas?
Is it a literal war on Christmas?
No, you fucking moron. It's not a literal war on Christmas. It's typically morons like you arguing over people saying Merry Christmas. If you want to talk about an actual war on Christmas, here's a town trying its hardest to not allow someone to offend their precious little fictional story.
It's a nativity scene with a rather strange twist. The baby Jesus, Joseph, and Mary, and the wise men are all dressed as zombies.
Well, you know, I can see why Christians would be offended by this. I mean, I think it's common knowledge that Jesus didn't come back from the dead until he was 33, so the display just happened to put the resurrection about 33 years earlier, and I know people obsessed with their mythos are very passionate about arguing their side. Hell, people argue whether Han shot first, so why should Christian fanboys be any different?
For a second year in a row, there's a life-size zombie nativity scene set up in Jasen Dixon's front yard. And yet again this year, he is battling with Sycamore Township officials over the nativity scene.
Well, I mean, Christians can be offended all they want and protest it for all I care, but I would say this is different because it's the government issuing these criticisms against him. They use the guise of it being zoning laws, which quite frankly is bullshit.
Sycamore Township told him last year to take it down because he didn't have a permit. So this year, Dixon says he worked with township officials when he applied. A day after he submitted the application, he received a letter saying his application was denied because the zoning code doesn't allow an accessory structure in a front yard.
So let me get this straight. Last year they tell him that, oh, it's because you don't have a permit. Now he tries to apply for an actual fucking permit. And they say, oh, we don't allow those types of structures in our front yard. Really? Are you fucking kidding me?
Here I got all the paperwork and how it was wrote out. And it says as long as it's not over 200 square foot that I can have it without a permit. And it's about 65 square foot.
But even after that, the town is still insisting that he take it down, threatening to fine him.
Dixon could be fined $500 a day.
$500 a day? Are you serious? I mean, that's like getting a high-end prostitute to fuck you every day. Did I get an idea for a new nativity scene? Whatever. Back to the story. So $500 a day. That's steep. But you know what? Maybe he just misunderstood what they said last year about needing a permit. Maybe they really don't allow these structures in their town at all. Wait, what's this? I mean, it surely could not be in Sycamore County. Oh, wait, this is only a block away from the zombie nativity scene? Shit, yeah, I don't know how you can support them at all. Okay, well, the only difference here is that the nativity scene is on public property, which should not go up on grounds of separation of church and state, but that certainly hasn't stopped churches from putting up displays on public property before, so why start now? But I think the fact his structure is on private property gives him the right to have a nativity scene. I feel the same way for anyone expressing their views, whether it's someone who wants to put up a nativity scene, or a Buddhist putting up a statue, or even a Nazi putting up a swastika. Even though I don't support their views, I think everyone has the right to do it. As for the person who has the zombie nativity scene, he could propose to move it to the public park, but I would be surprised if they accept it. I know someone who is an attorney and has been on the zoning board for a town. He was telling me a story about how they denied a church that he wasn't a part of a permit, but admitted that if they brought it to court, the town would probably lose. But then said some cases where they have given more leeway towards religions. I asked him, well, where do you draw that line? What if a Satanist church proposed the same request? Would you have approved them? He said, of course I would not approve it. I asked him, well, why? And he couldn't answer and got mad at me for proposing such a ridiculous question. To me, that's very telling of small local governments. They have the power to blatantly break federal laws because they know no one is going to challenge them, which is wrong. Everyone should be entitled to the same rights. They should be given the same services from the government as anyone else. I don't think this is a ridiculous, crazy idea, but of course the people in power are fucking hypocrites and they just want to push their beliefs on other people. Well, that's not surprising. But the real question here is, why should you care? I mean, it's just someone who put up a silly nativity scene as being told to take it down. Why does that matter? You should care because it sets a precedent in our society. It makes it okay for people to take away your rights, and despite what some people think, this is taking away your rights. People are entitled to free speech, But there are people out there in positions of power who want to push their values on their communities, and that's wrong. It shouldn't matter whether we agree with them or not. If they own the property, then they should be able to do what they want with it. So long as there's no safety concerns causing physical damage to people. This isn't a crazy radical idea, but the way society has become so politically correct and butthurt over everything, common sense isn't exactly common. This is the Booze and Bullshit Show. Shit happens, and we make fun of it. If you like this video and want to see some examples of people being overly crazy and sensitive, check out my other videos such as my satire, Cups Are Sexist, and The Words We Use. All I want for Christmas this year is for you to subscribe. It's free and also the gift that keeps on giving. I want to hear what you have to say about all the topics I make videos on. And if you liked the video, of course, click that like button. After all, it is the holidays and the season of giving.